Hello, 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 everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I hope you guys are having a great day and week. Today, I'm very happy to announce you this is our first episode of the Dextego Playbook Show, and we are here with Randi. She is the Senior VP at Basler and also author at the Revenue Magazine. Thank you very much for being here, Randy.
Super excited to be the first guest. As I said, the pressure.
Yes, definitely. But there's no better person to be here than you. You have a lot of experience. And again, it's an honor to have you here. Have a couple of questions so we can talk about AI and customer experience and how we can actually leverage it while keep it human. That is the whole
Mhm.
purpose of this webinar podcast style. And if you also are watching this live here on LinkedIn, please drop your comments or questions so we can read them live and can also check that after in the recording. So first, I would like for you to introduce yourself a little bit on how did you get here, Randy? Where did you start with AI? I know you have a great backstory to, tell the people. So, the floor is yours.
I'm actually a clinical scientist by training, and that lent itself well when I came to the commercial side and actually working in go-to-market and driving revenue. I took all of my science background and learned to, experiment, iterate, and refine the go-to-market engine to drive revenue profitably for sustainability in a business. And of course, over the last 2 years, AI has been making a splash. And using my scientist background, being just extremely curious, started out with ChatGPT and creating custom GPTs to scale not only myself but my team and what we do to be more profitable and also drive revenue.
Wow, that's awesome. Cannot put in better words what you just said and how, AI is changing the game the past 2 years. And, it's all about elevating that customer experience with AI, correct? And,
Yes.
well, I have a quick question for you here is how are AI-driven techniques transforming customer experiences in the sales process?
Yeah. So I think, when we think about the customer experience, the sales process, first off, it's always about removing friction, and customers want what they want when they want. And so if a customer or potential buyer comes to your website, one of the easiest ways to leverage, AI is, the chat bots. Someone wants to see a demo, instead of gating it, let them see the demo and have the customer interact, right? So basically having a virtual bot or salesperson at the front end where the customer potential buyer doesn't feel pressured but can actually learn what they want when they want, because customers want a B2C experience in the B2B process, right? They want it truly to be what they want when they want, and that is probably the easiest way. If you're not gating information and allowing them to see what they're interested in, I think is one of the absolute first steps in the sales process, is setting that up so customers can explore your brand, your products without feeling pressured.
Oh, that's fascinating. A lot of time we try to buy a type of software or a platform and we are ready to buy. You already made your
Right.
research, you already know your competitors and the pricing, you agree with everything. You just need to sign it, you just need to
Mm-hmm.
buy it. And they make it a process that is gonna take a month, first a week for you to obligatory see that demo that you already know. Because let's say you used the product in the past, you saw on YouTube or Instagram, those quick demos that sometimes are pretty good. So, sometimes the gateway, like it's really hard to understand why they're trying to gate away their services for someone that it's ready to buy. It's
Yeah.
lovely to see that you have that clear.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that because that's actually one of my favorite stories about a Salesforce experience. So sorry, not sorry to anyone who is affiliated with Salesforce, but I was in a new business unit and I just needed to buy an additional license, and they wanted me to go through, like, just like you said, their whole sales process. When I was like, "Here's my credit card. Where do I sign?" Right? So especially for someone who's experienced and knows what they want, like that, having that product led growth and having that journey, like removing that friction for someone who just needs to get to, like, let me give you my credit card and let's get
Mhm.
started, is so crucial.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. In fact, I have a super curious, it's a little bit off topic, but in the sense of going to that B2C user experience is duty frees.
Hmm.
We love to shop in duty frees. You're always ready to buy. Why don't we have one for B2B where people are ready to buy your software? They already
Right.
know the demo. They already know, like, they already talk with the decision makers. Everybody in the company are happy to work with it, but have all this friction between you and finally getting it started. When you talk
Right.
about like implementing AI and any type of techniques in the sales process, you need data. And
Hmm.
what type of crucial data, it's more important for that effective AI driven personalization?
Yeah, so I think, the research portion of, interacting with a customer, I always go back to foundations in sales. And one is knowing your ICP, like who's your ideal customer. And so whatever you're presenting, it needs to appeal to them. That is, table stakes. But when you're interacting, whether it's messaging, whether it's emails or content that you create, and how you can do this at scale. I think that's where research and using generative AI. So, for example, I create a custom GPT to not only go out and look at companies that we were targeting, but I put the names of the people that we were, interested in. And so it would search socials, press releases, anything that where they may have commented, because what we're looking for in personalization is, what does it mean to that person? Because I think sometimes as sellers, we overcomplicate things and we forget people buy from people. And so they want to, hear how it impacts them. We need to make the person who's buying the hero of the journey, not just their company, right? And I think sometimes people forget that, with all this tech and everything else. And you have to remember, people buy from people. And then you can also never forget, buyer psychology, that all decisions are not logical. There's a lot of emotion
Oh
involved.
yeah.
So how can you, appeal to them, not in a manipulative way, but really truly get to their heart of what is driving them to consider this and have a strong point of view. And that's where research and using AI can be super helpful. Instead of this taking hours, it can literally take minutes, and you can scale this.
Wow, that is fantastic. Literally sales 101 here with Randy, guys. People buy from people. You can use AI to be a better salesperson, but don't automate your emails, and just let's spam 1,000 people with this AI personalized email. No, help yourself, help them. At the end of the day, it's what is in for me. Understand your persona and where to find them. Randy, this has been fantastic so far. I'm telling you, people would pay you $10,000 for this sales course.
It's really about quality over quantity, right? And that's where AI is helping you, because you're being so laser focused, so personalized. You can get better outcomes, right? And I think that's one of the things that, people need to get their head wrapped around. It's not about sending out 1,000 emails. It's about sending fewer, but super targeted, super specific, and super personalized.
Yes, yes, exactly. You gotta take advantage of your industry, the people already know, referrals, and that we're gonna talk about a little bit later. But it's everything together, and help yourself, help others. I was thinking about here about the customer journey, right? And you have to map it out. How does predictive customer journey mapping work, and what benefits does it offer?
Right. So I'm a huge fan of like mapping out the whole ecosystem. So it's not just, how a customer might progress, and because it's not always linear. Just like we talked about a few minutes, right? Just because a customer comes and looks at a demo on your site doesn't mean they're ready to buy.
Oh
But
yeah.
also, the flip side is, they may come to a meeting and they actually are ready to buy, right? So it's knowing and using AI to predict where they're at. So we are actually once again serving up what they want when they want, and this is where things like buyer intent can be super and helpful throughout the journey. But it's also not assuming, right? So we have to use AI to make the best next guess, and that's where that predictive comes. But we also, once again, like I said, have to use our brains. And if someone comes to a meeting where you think you're going to do a demo, they're like, how do I buy? You need to be able to pivot and adapt and say, let's go there next, right? And I think that is super critical. And so no matter what you create for your journey, you have to be able to adapt. And I think a lot of people get so stuck on, oh, it's linear. It's not always linear, right? And so being able to adapt is super crucial.
Oh, that is fantastic. Thank you, Randy. It really defines what if the deal is going to upsell, churn, or to even close or not, depending on your next steps. If you don't have any, come on. Just like going to a doctor meeting. You're not feeling well, you go to the doctor. After 45 minutes, the doctor asks you, so what do you think you should do next? You're not there, to okay, let's discuss. This is an open round table discussion. No, come on. You're there to be given the next steps, to buy the software, to start using it, and you really need to understand where your customer is to meet them where they at. Just like Randy said. No, don't assume. Yes, you have to make a guess. However, you can do that using AI to be more diligent and really understand what is going on in that company. Because timing is crucial. If they just renew their contract with that company, it's barely impossible for you to sell to them right now. However, you can ask when is up, how long is that contract due, right? And then you can follow up correctly. And remember to always understand where your customers are. As Randy said, it's not linear. If I start a process right now, I might have to go to my CEO to ask for approval. I might have to go to legal to see if it's compliant or not. So it's 100% not linear, and you have to understand where your customer is at.
Yeah.
Now, yes.
I was just going to say, and I think one of the biggest mistakes is, expectations. So we have to, understand what the customer's expectations are, and then we also have to set expectations as we go through, depend if they're not aligned. And I think sometimes we come as sellers with a certain expectation of where the customer's at, and I think like that's just another way to reframe what we said is, making sure that you're always in alignment. So if the customer has an expectation of what is going to happen, like how are you serving that, or how are you resetting it or reframing it to move through the journey?
Oh yeah, expectations. We all struggle with them, personally and professionally. But yes, it's setting the expectations right. Exactly what you said, Randy. Thank you so much. But when talking about a customer journey, we have to create some key touch points. Can you describe a little bit more on where and when should we create those touch points?
So when I think about customer journey mapping, there's a term. It's called the moment of truth, or MOT, in customer experience, and that is the moment that is key for a customer from the customer's point of view, not from the company's point of view, but something that is key for them, and that takes time to collect that data. But typically it's, obviously there's that awareness stage of how they interact with your brand. And over time, this is where, like I said, predictive AI can help you. If a potential buyer does XYZ things, that's where the buyer intent, comes from those analytics. And then as they move through the journey, like what can you do to, we always want to think about, the customer and how we can, get them to the next step smoothly and efficiently. And of course, if we do that, that reduces the length of the sale. And then if we have a strong point of view and great customer case studies, we can help with the change management. And I always say, upsell is great, but did we do our job in the beginning? Should it have been a larger deal to begin with? Or, did we miss something and that's why we're doing upsell on the back end, right? So we have to look through both lenses. And I've been at companies where, for whatever reason, the customer was not ready to do like a full scale. So we did it in steps. And so there was an upsell at the end. But I will also argue that we had some customers that we didn't do a good enough job on the front end that, that's why we had upsell on the back end. I think it's really important that throughout the whole journey, you're really evaluating. And this is something that is not one and done. You create a customer journey, it's always changing. And you have to iterate and refine as you go along, because not every customer is going to fit in every moment of truth. What is meaningful for one customer, how they articulate value and how they interact with your company, is not necessarily how another customer might do that, right?
Most definitely. We are all different. Can never treat
Yeah,
the customer as you treated the past one.
yeah,
Of course, you have to standardize something, but as you said, the moment of truth. What a beautiful set of words. I love it. Moment of truth. I guess everybody here has, their own moment of truth whenever buying a product you're a fan of, or even software. So if you're on the buying
right.
end as well, sorry for all the BDRs, just like in my case, after you. But what you said is super important, Randy. Sometimes we mess up in the first deal that we sign. It could have been $1 million deal. However, we forgot to scale all the different things we can help you with and get different stakeholders in the meeting. So, it's super important to understand sentiment and what you told about understanding different. Oh, they're just aware of her brand. They're ready to buy. Completely different poles in, let's say, the sales journey, that you cannot ask for a meeting for someone that just came to know about your brand today. They need to see what is in for them first. So, what are some practical ways to apply sentiment analysis to improve those sales conversations?
Think, especially through the sales process, if I can just tease out what you were saying about the, multi-threading, you have a champion and you have users and you have influencers. Obviously you need the champion on your side to be able to drive the deal. But I don't know if anyone else has experienced this. You have a champion who actually will sign, but everyone else is not on board. And this is where, sales rooms and, looking at the different personas that you're dealing with, whether it's IT, legal, you know, um, whatever the case may be that you're multi-threaded with, ensuring that you are treating them as like an individual customer journey. So you have the champion journey, you have the user journey, you have the influencer journey, and you're treating each of them and personalizing what it means to them. And I think sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and focus on just the champion, that we forget that there's a change management and process for the user, for the influencer, and how are we serving them as individuals, because everyone has different drivers, right? And that's our job as sellers in a multi-threaded deal, to identify those drivers. And like I said, listening to calls, using AI to understand what they said, and how we can serve up information that is important and relevant to them. And it may be different for different people. And I think sometimes if you just treat everyone generically, you're going to end up in a bad place.
Oh yeah, 100%. I could not agree more with you. If you have sentiment analysis for that, right? Is to analyze how each individual person is going in that process. And I cannot talk with my champion the way I talk with the CEO I've never met before. I don't need that formality. I can just go, hey, buddy, we've been talking here for a while. I've been behind, been behind you for the past year trying to get this deal across. And that is the recognition of that individual journey. So thank you so much. It's so well said. But we all understand that implementing AI, it's a problem. Implementing anything that is new to your sales team, it's complicated. We as salespeople don't want new tools, but then when we see they're working, oh my God, why didn't I start early? And all of that. So what are the common challenges when implementing AI in customer experience have you faced, and how have you overcome it?
So I always think it's important to test and refine fine first. And the easiest way to do is like just an example about sentiment is, I don't really know many sellers who don't have access to some call recordings, right? So as an example, you could take that and you've created a scorecard for sentiment, or you're looking for certain things so you can personalize follow up for the individuals on the call. And this is where you could, like I said, leverage AI. Who's got time to listen to all these or analyze all the data? If you have that done by AI and it's serving it up to you, then it can create an account plan for you as you're selling into that account. If you review it and do that on a past success, and you know that works, then you can apply it larger scale and take it to your team. And I would always say, what I like to do is when I'm working with a team is take one or two people who are enthusiastic about it and make sure it works, and then take someone who's always kind of been more resistant to change and show them how it could work in an existing deal. And that those two things before you bring everyone along can be huge, because not only do you have the people who are going to move fast, but you're also grabbing the person who's going to be the more resistant. And that way you know how to discuss, because change management, especially in go-to-market, no one wants to be slowed down by admin or changing. How is this going to slow me down? Is it going to take me off the phone? Is it going to take me away from emails? Is it going to take me away from being in front of customers? Those are all the things that are in sellers' mind, right? They're thinking about what impacts their pocketbook. So you have to think as a leader how you can minimize that and also move forward.
Well, that is fantastic. That's basically, hear this out, guys. Literally, there is no better way to implement a new tool in your team than by finding your champion inside that team and then taking the most challenged guy that you have, your top performer that don't like to cold call, that don't like to send emails, that is always below in the activity metrics. Take them both. Take your most enthusiastic, teach them how to use it. They're going to start to, seeing some progress. Then your guy that does not like to work is going to see that as, oh my God, I need it. And I'm going to be way more productive if I do it. So there's no excuses there. You have your team working for you, and that's all you want. Everybody working together, right? And as a team leader, you don't want them not knowing how to use the tool, or being wasting time. You want them client facing, making those cold calls. So just as what Randy said, get your champion, get your challenger, and make them see how this tool can affect in a better way the team and their performance, because what matters is the commission the commission money at the end of the month, right?
Because you have your success stories and you learn your objections, and then everyone else who's in the middle, it's an easy change.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's way easier to move, that middle back than the leader. So when you move the head, the body has to follow as well. Now we're about to, get into the ends of this beautiful first episode of the Dextego Playbook Show. And Randy, I have two last questions for you here. The first one is, how do you see AI continuing to evolve customer experience in sales for the next 5 years? And are you scared by it, or do you think it's going to be good for you?
So, over the past year, I'm excited by it, because what it has allowed me and my team to do is really to upskill And what I mean by that is it has freed up um, time. So there's more time in front of customers, more time, writing better emails because we're using it to do some of the repetitive tasks, whether it's research, et cetera, or even just looking at our data and on the back end from a customer success standpoint, looking at, a customer mentioned another customer, hey, we need to talk to them about referrals, right? So instead of manually doing that, automating those things with AI has freed us up to upskill. And I say that the more that we can be in front of customers and the more that we can use AI to enable us to spend more time with the people who actually matter, the people who are buying, the better off that we are. So I look at it as human enabled AI, and that's what allows us to actually spend more quality time with people because people buy from people. So I'm not afraid. Is it going to change? 100%. Just as an example, instead of hiring an additional 3 FTEs in marketing, I have two marketing staff members doing the work of 5. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's profitable, efficient growth because we're repurposing content from transcripts, etc. Right? And so it's a way of scaling the team, but actually having better quality conversations and interactions with your customers.
Well, that is fantastic. I'm a very optimistic person, but your definition of how AI can we're going to help us the next few years is even better than I could expect. Um, and Randy, my last question for you is: give me your top 3 AI platforms and how you use them.
So I'm a huge fan of Perplexity AI for research because it gives you the sources. So I love that when I'm researching a company or market industry. And then of course, I'm a custom chat GPT person, so open AI for that, right? I know there are others, and then it's not really AI, but I use Make to automate. So, competitive intelligence, et cetera, is huge. And then, coaching. Once again, I have chat GPTs for coaching. So looking at transcripts and reviewing call cording has been huge. So we have some homegrown stuff, but there is so many options out there. Um, the sky is the limit. And then of course, video. Using AI to scale yourself with video is huge. And for that, I would definitely recommend SenseBark.
Oh, definitely. They're pretty good with it. Hey, watermelon. I love it. And well, if you guys would also like to add to your AI list, and if you're a sales leader or even recruiters, recommend it to recruiters as well. Check out Dextego. You have all your AI sales coach where everybody can learn at their best time. Oh, I'm a person that likes to work at 8 a.m. Okay, 8 a.m. I go into my platform, sign in, make it ready to hit the day and hit the dials. Um, and well, the last thing I want you to say here to us is define AI in one phrase, Randy.
Artificial intelligence is really an extension of the human because in order for it to work it has to be implemented, right? So it's really about human assisted and leveraging it to scale us and scale our teams and scale our businesses.
Wow. There you guys, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much, Randy. That was beautiful. So we learned today that every single person in that sales process have a individual journey. You guys also remember that we need to make it frictionless. We need people to be able to buy, not suffer 1 month waits to buy your software. Okay, use AI to be human enabled AI salesman. Literally, we want you not to replace your work, but to use AI to make your work better. I also saw on your LinkedIn post you were like wasting 50 hours a week on a project. Now you have to, in 3 hours, you have it all right. Is that correct?
Our RFP process used to take 50 hours. If you added up everyone's time, from legal, SMEs, etc., salespeople, and yeah, we've got that down to 2 or 3 hours. It was a process, but still, that is huge. And this is just one of the ways that we can have profitable, efficient growth.
That is awesome. That is just the definition of using AI to be a better salesperson. And well, thank you very, very much, Randy. It's been a pleasure having you here. And for all of you watching over on LinkedIn, thank you. And please drop your questions. And see you next month with our Dextego Playbook Show. Have a good one.